All right, I'm trying to play around with YouTube here to figure out what's going on. So what I am doing here is trying to stream in two places. And that wasn't ready. That wasn't ready. There I am. Clicked on too many buttons here. Whoops, it's not 7. I should have looked. I'm really sorry about that, but I am trying to, okay, what I'll do is I'll stop that. Okay, that is shut off. I guess I'm live. I don't know. This is really confusing. All right. This is what I'm looking for is the hidden formats that I can find in the Hebrew text, and I'm going to go over that a little bit with you to show you what I'm talking about. I use two major words and then connect them with the least amount of small words, and these become verses. Now, these verses end up becoming a small paragraph. This is a 4-verse format, which means this is a comma and this is a period. This is a comma and this is a period. These two make a sentence more or less. And then what I do is I have very much a repeating like text or a continuation of the story where I could say this is like a large paragraph. Then I put a double space through them, and then you can see another story is going to start here. And this is a 3-verse format, so the writer is switching stories, and now all of a sudden I have a 3-verse, which the first verse is a statement, and these two make a sentence describing the statement. Again, repeats this. Now it depends on how well the writer is that these connect this way. But now what I want to do is bring up the text for Samuel 5 and 6 I'm going to do here. So I'm hoping I've got the buttons working. Okay, Twitch seems to be working. Update. Okay, now only one of them is coming up. Now that, what is, it's got the wrong title, but okay. Desktop audio. Okay, I have to turn down my volume here. I don't know. I've got a double speaking here. So anyways, I guess you're seeing something on YouTube. You're seeing the full version or the full desktop. Now, how come you aren't seeing the vertical? I'm really trying to figure out how come my vertical's not working here. But then all the tribes for Israel came to David and said, "We are your bone and flesh." No, they didn't. This is this is how I edit to replace a word. And now this does seem to be continuing a 4-verse. Now this Israel maybe means all Israel. So right now I will use this way of writing the word Israel as the whole nation. When our Creator created them when they come out of Egypt and said, previously, now I guess I can delete, I guess I can get rid of this word. When Saul was king over us, but he isn't the one that led them in and out. That's just, no. You are the one. And Saul was king over us. YV. How come that didn't go down? YV said, YV didn't. YV anointed. YV anointed, which was true. So this, although this is too far away, anointed you. And you will rule over Israel. You will herd a people. And Saul was king over us. YV anointed you. I'm not liking this verse at all. Now, when all the tribes came here, let's see, this is kind of like if this was all gone. You'll be ruler for Israel. Now that's more correct and truthful. You will be ruler. A ruler for Israel. Okay, now that's really good. Now, this is 2 sets, so I have to separate that. And now say, so all elders, now this has already been said. They can't anoint him. Anointment has to come from our Creator, so that's out. And David agreed. I think that's the intent of this, anyways. And David agreed with them before YV. Now that means this would have to be before his tent, if it's before. Well, the tent of meeting is still up in Shiloh. Do I'm still thinking. Now this is a 3 verse, and I've got a 4 verse. Then all tribes for Israel came to David. To be for Israel. But Saul was king, so this has to be he would be a ruler for Israel. If David agreed with them, YV had anointed him to be king. And that would be and over Israel. So what word is I'm missing here to make it 4 verse? And David, they already here at Hebron. I was trying to think of, can I use this word here? It's not working. So David agreed with them. Him to be king Someday. Is that even one word? Can that be one word? Yes. Someday. Oh, I added that, so I get rid of it. Over to. Okay, that is a 4-verse. And now there should be another 4-verse, but it's not. So right now, I know there's going to be text missing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that they sat down and talked and had a great time together and la la la. So that would go right here. Now, when I don't know, I just looked over and all of a sudden it was shut off from my. I'm trying to use a company that's pretty decent at streaming different platforms and takes a relief off my. Hopefully, it tells me that I don't have problems with slowness on the internet when I'm uploading videos. But this, how come? Maybe it did slow down and disconnected. So I don't know. This is just bugging me. Why is that not working right? Let me take a look here. I want to see if it's actually, is it recording on verticals? Okay, it had stopped. Now I'm starting it again. Might have to glue them together. It's not. Oh, David was 10 years old when he was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned 40 years. At Hebron, he ruled. Because I did this here, I should do it here as well. You can see it down here. I use this instead of months because months back then they used like the moon to do the fortnight, and our creator speaks against that. So this is my best way I can actually say what's going on here. Now, how come I'm going? If that's a 3, this has to be a 3. And this would be the. And I've usually got it as bad Israel. So, although I guess it was at Saul's time, so I should use at Saul's time. No, that would be 2. That would be 2. And I don't know if that's going to just continue. This is not true. They didn't have, Jerusalem does not exist yet. Jerusalem doesn't happen until they're bringing back David wants the tent or the chest with the 12 commandments to come down with him, and one of the priests stuck his hand out and our Creator killed him. So he stopped there, and then he bought that hill from a guy, and then he started making that or started making plans how to build our Creator a house. So they must have put the tent down there at a certain time. But right now, there is no such thing as Jerusalem. So he couldn't have went to Jerusalem. He had to go to Shiloh. And this was definitely not be there. And yeah, this is all over salted. And they're trying to make that the Zion, the city of David. That's just wrong. Never was called Zion. See, this is they're talking, it's a city there, and that didn't happen. Yeah, this is not truthful. David didn't build there, lived in the stronghold. That doesn't exist. Then Harry. For Lebanon sent his messengers. Because Lebanon is a kingdom. Tyre is a city in Lebanon, by the way, just for you to know that you got to be a king not just of the city, but of the land. King for sent his messenger. To David. Oops. With this has to be planks. With planks. It's going to build him a house. So you can't send just trees. They're too big. So this and carpenters wouldn't need stonemasons. And they're going to right now to build David a house. Okay. David realized, so now this house that's being built was actually in Shiloh. So David has to be in Shiloh, because I've done this similar story like this. So if I get rid of this, go back to built, and I have to add this. And his carpenters built a house for David. Now this, it doesn't say in Shiloh, but I know it's in Shiloh. So that's okay. And David, and while David took wives, that's not right. This would have to be F for this to be true. Now this is just wrong. Now all this here, this is, we just went through that. Now these are the names who were born to him in Jerusalem. There's only Solomon. So they're just putting that in here to say this with, and David is not going to be an adulterer. That's against the 12th commandment. So this is all just oversalted words, definitely. Now, David was king over you. When the Philistines heard David was king for Israel, now this Israel, got to be like that. The Philistines came war with David. Now you can see I've got a verse missing. Now this, meaning spread themselves out, when they do this line formation, it's called a raid. Raid themselves. In it's like in a valley. And this has to be by. This has to be where it's by. By. It's usually by Simons. Okay. Now, I do have some maps that when I'm looking at and thinking about them in my head, okay, now this is when Saul was king, I believe. Yeah, I think I'm getting closer. No, I'm not close at all. Because there's David comes over to help Saul battle the Philistines, but David's coming from over here and he starts battling here, and then Saul tries to capture him. So when he heard Saul was coming down, he actually fled up to here, I think. And then, so where is the next story here? Maybe I've got it in the wrong section here. That didn't help. See, now this is the battle I was talking about. Finally found that. Then goes near Dan. Okay, he didn't go up here. He come up to here. So here, David takes this line, and Saul had come down to battle them here, out of here, and then he came up chasing David to here. Now that Saul's dead, they were battling here when Saul was dead. So they must have still kept this land then. And if that's the situation here, then David's going to come back in here and fight them. So they would probably come up into Simon. And if they could, they would just come up this way and this way to take them. Now, Saul had taken down here is where the Amaleks were. So they're now gone. So what is going on here? Well, if they just come up to Simon, so, okay, Simon, in this, I usually try to make them all caps when they're good. So I'll do this. Okay, all to get that word right there correctly. In I will say they actually came into it because they came to war with David, so they had to enter it. They wouldn't have stayed on the land. So this would have to be so the Philistines came to war with David. Well, to go all the way down here, I got to get rid of all this. In a valley in Simons. I tried to look up that king's name, and I actually think I have it here. So let me see if I actually save the text. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. That's bad. Because when I shut things off, sometimes I just say no because I'm trying to say I don't need to do that group, and I forgot that. So, whoops, from YV. Saying, will I go against the Philistines? Will you give me them? Okay, here he's gonna reply. So this is been sitting on the chair too long today. Now, if this is a 4-verse, that it's a different story, that then David asked from YV, saying, "Will I go against the Philistines?" Then I don't need this. And YV's reply is David didn't get to talk to him and actually have our Creator speak to him. So he did in a vision, but not a lot of times. So I can't say he did it this time. And YV's reply to David was go. Now that's a 4-verse. 1, 2, 3, 4 verse. 1, 2, 3 verse. 1, 2, 3 verse. YV's reply to David was go. I will certainly give the Philistines into your hand. Okay, I'm hoping that's right. This, we already know he's in a valley. And so David came and defeated him there. And he said, YV, like the breaking of waters, that's not true. I don't think he's going to name this place. He said, of YV. He is broken through. That's two of the same words. I'm going to say defeated. Because if I put there allowed to, and then I've got too many words. So I think this is the intent of these words here. But David came and defeated him there, and he said of YV, he has defeated our enemy. He has us. He had us. That sounds better. Had us defeat our enemy. And they abandoned their idols there, so David and his men carried them away. They'd leave that pagan shit behind, so that's just wrong. I can't use that word, but I gotta say it again. Philistines. Again here. So this has got to be later. Later the Philistines came again. Later the Philistines came again and spread themselves and arrayed themselves. Get themselves in the. I'm going to put this as in Judah now. People at that time weren't that good, so I'm going to use this Judah. That's the tribe Judah being evil, but now they're coming up into Judah's area. Now it's going to have an ambush for them. Now it's fire as gazer. Now let's see, I just showed you that map. But here are those cities, but it looks like they came up here, across the river, and we're going to go this way, not this way. Or did they go through? Okay, it has to be the same place as before. not go, but the word go isn't working. You said you will not. That you are to circle behind them. But you are to circle behind them. And come from the trees, which would be a forest. I think that's the trees would be open area. They would see them, so it has to be a forest where they can hide. So that has to be true. That has to be there. I added that. So you are to circle around them, not the word behind, but you are to circle around them. But you are to avoid, but and come at them from the forest. And I don't need this here. I really don't like the word circle around them. And I would say ambush them from the trees. I need the word ambush. This, I don't think used to be said. Did just as Ivy commanded him. Struck down the Philistines as far as. Okay, now let me see something here. I think, where is that first picture now? That was way up. Here it is. Gaza. So from here, Ekron, is that one of those? Well, I can't even remember from there to there. Ekron. And that. Ekron. As far as the river, because, oops, past the river. Yeah, I know I'm adding a little bit here, but I've got to, because I know David sends them out, and Judah has got to take the space over. So what I mean by that is, David makes them pay tribute or taxes yearly. So this is where they were the three cities, and Gaza's down here, but this is a long way to the river. But you can see this is, well, this was all Amalek's that he took over, and these guys didn't cross here. This is Egypt, and this has to be moved over. So they could have moved down and through here along this river. So that's where the Philistines ended up being. So that was according to our creator's hidden format. So I spent a lot of time on that book. So, okay, now I have this is what I did past the river. So now I got a note here that it's going to be this guy here as who I need to search for in this thing. Okay. Now I'm going to put that way over here and say, now this is the story that David's going to go and bring from there the ark for our creator and thrown above the cherubim, and he's not above the cherubim. That's just wrong. The angels were beside him, and they were facing each other with their arms stretched out, and they were holding the mercy seat. So, and they placed the ark or the chest on a new cart, and that was wrong. Now here's this guy here, but that's not what the story says. Let me see if I've got. Let me see here. No, it's not in that book. So now I got to go look for it because it's very important here what's going on. And I've already done this. So how can I do this? To find it, oh, I know. I've already put all the books together. So in this one, yeah, these are all the books I already put together. So, and I want to search for this guy's name. Okay. And says this was the priest in this story. See, this is very descriptive that David moves the tent. And that was this guy here that put his hand out and he killed him. So the tent for YV was set up and remained on a hill for this guy. Okay. So that's the story. That's from 1 Chronicles, chapter 13. But here, there was a hill, and he brought it on the hill, and was walking ahead of the ark. David was behind. This is not needed. But then again, was struck down, and he died. So this is all out. I have a better story already of this. And it looks like I finally searched here to say that all this is out as well. So I'm going to call this whole chapter out then, because I have a better story already done. So okay. So chapter 6 is going to be done with. And I did already build up this text. Wait a second, maybe I haven't brought it over. That's part 3. Part 4 was taken out, so part 5 has got to be brought over here. I didn't do that yet. Boy, I'm getting older. I'm not remembering how I did all this. Just the chapter before. See, chapter 4 is already thrown all out, because that too had another like story. So, let me just get down here. Okay, I'm on 7 next. Okay, save that. Go back to this story. We're going to stick it right here. Now, what I didn't see was all the 8-point being taken out of here. Something happened to that macro. So now I got to come through here and do this. Yeah, I should have restarted my computer. That's the problem. When I use this macro and then I take a break for a while and then come back for the day, I have got to make sure that I restart the computer because it's really been a pain. But I thought I was made adjustments so uh, my vertical would be working, my vertical video. That's why I had the macro set up so I didn't have to do all this. See, this is what I was hoping to, that's supposed to be all taken out. So, my fault. Well, I'm glad I threw out that whole chapter because I'd have to be doing it to the second one as well. I would have said, well, I'm going to clean it up on a different video. But what I want to do, because this video is only, what is it, an hour and 10 minutes, so this is okay right now. Okay, now to get back up here and recheck the text and make sure that I've got the right grouping here. I got one verse, then I got to have two here. So 4 verse, this is 1, that should go into that. Now I should have 2 here. This is 3. This should be, whoops, 2 here. 2 here. Now if I do this 1 here, then I'd say this is, that group has got to be moved out. So let me do this. I better put a few more of these down here. Got a few chapters to go yet. I think there's 24 in this text or this book, but it's going to be this story here, which means I need, this is part 1. Oops, I need this. It's to go here. This is part to part 3. Then I have to say, put it here. Oh, this story. And I don't know where yet. Because what's going to happen, so that's my note to myself, but that's got to go someplace. Okay, now this story goes 1, 2, then David. See how it becomes like another bigger chapter here, right on cue. And then here, this is 4 verse. And that's a 4 verse. And struck down, pushed down. And this I'm going to have to say I'm adding. Pushed down the Philistines from this river. It's the river over Egypt's for Egypt's kingdom. And to put by here would be a better word. And then I have to say I'm adding all this to make it a 4 verse. But that gets grouped, that gets grouped. That means 2. And then this means I've got that 3 verse or 4 verse, 4 verse missing here. Now I think that's how that's going to go. So that'll be the video for today. Yeah. I might need have to reword this well. Because I don't know how to word this area here. Because they probably fled there, but they came back to here is what I'm going to say. Because that means that there has to be a bridge here. And that bridge has been the path that ever since they took Joseph into Egypt is where I've had this bridge located. So, but they would have had to come back in here. This is Egypt's land. So that will be it for today. Thank you very much.